Welcome back to RBP. I am Ross Bolen here with Jared Borislow. After what I would call an eventful weekend, J-Bone. Yeah, I went out amongst the people. Went to see Shane Smith and the Saints at Moody Theater, one of my favorite little venues in Austin. It's kind of like a House of Blues, if you're familiar with that, like a 2,500 person-ish venue in the heart of downtown. First of all, Shane Smith, the lead singer of the group and namesake, was my guest on episode 367. Great interview you should go listen to. And Shane is an Austin guy. Mm-hmm. They're an Austin group. So playing Moody Theater, if you're from Austin, it's a dream realized for them, right? And It was really, really cool to see. You been to anything at Moody, Jared?
I have. I've seen Fleet Foxes there. I've seen Tallest Man on Earth. I saw Khalid. I think those are the three.
It's where they record ACL Live, for those of you who are maybe familiar with that. I've seen a lot of comics there, a lot of canceled comics. Louis C.K. Would be one of them.
Dave Chappelle was there. Did you see him there or
Still
no?
haven't seen Dave. Never seen him live. What's the name of the dude with long hair who was in a TV show as a creep and then he was a creep in real life?
Chris D'Elia.
Chris D'Elia. I saw him there too.
He was like your favorite comic at one point. You've already really killed him out of your head that much.
Yeah, I see two. I've seen three, actually, of my favorite comics I've seen at Moody, if you count Aziz and his partial cancellation, that was semi-ruined for me after the fact, which is kind of a bummer. That being said, I have really good memories at Moody, too. I saw Run the Jewels there, as an example. One of the best shows I've ever seen live. So it was good to be back there and to feel that energy, and I got to enjoy the show with my girlfriend. First show since, I think 2019.
Are you a big concert guy?
For me, which, yes, this was something that used to be a cornerstone of my life, live music, that really I lost, like so many of us, in 2020 and in the first half of 2021 as well, pre-vaxxy. So I had a blast, man, and I hadn't really been around a drunk person, like one drunk person, in a really, really long time. And for those of you who are new, I haven't had a drink, any alcohol, since 2017. And when you don't drink alcohol and you're around people who are drinking alcohol, it's a very different experience than when you're partaking, which is something I definitely didn't have enough respect for as a drunk person, and definitely don't expect anyone else to with this perspective.
So what a lot of people, if you're a new listener, what you might not know, as Ross alluded to, so Ross hasn't had a drink in a long time, and it's because he's actually boycotting. He's not having a drink until they bring back the original Four Loko.
That was the whole thing, man. And I'm still here. I am the Gandhi of blackout.
Yeah, nonviolent protest. Ross will not have a drink until original Four Loko. You got to think, though, it's coming back soon, right? We're getting Flamin' Hot Cheetos Mountain Dew. You're not going to give us original Four Loko?
We're legalizing, hallucinogens in some states, in some varieties. Give us back our original Four Loko. Allow us to black out and poison ourselves.
Imagine
in
you,
peace.
After 5 years of not having a drink or whatever it is.
That's what I start with?
You should go back to original Four Loko as your first drink.
It'll be 4 years for me in October. 4 years in
4 years.
October. And I think if I had, even if I had one of the knockoff, the Four Loko of today, the modern, safe Four Loko that doesn't kill you, with as much of a,
Yeah.
veracity or whatever, I think I would die. It would, I don't think my body could handle that, much less my brain.
The last time that I had a Four Loko, it was not the original, it was the current iteration of Four Loko.
Yeah.
My dinner that night was a 7-Eleven pizza, and not the one that's ready to go. We had them make us a fresh 7-Eleven pizza.
That's the better move.
And then I got a Four Loko Gold. I don't actually know what flavor it is. The can is gold. It's called Four Loko Gold. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe it was Red Bull-y flavored, kind of.
You just went, I love gold, and grabbed it out of there?
And then they stamped, I got a custom stamp on my can.
I'll give you a custom stamp on your can, Jared.
And anyways,
take you out back.
That night, right immediately after that, was when I met my girlfriend.
No shit.
In my stomach when I met my girlfriend was 7-Eleven pizza and Four Loko Gold.
That's something, man. You can only go up from there. That's a good place to start a relationship. Yeah, you got to be careful with that. You don't want to set the bar too high, right, when you meet somebody. You got to hold yourself to that standard for the remainder of the relation, or they're going to be like, what the hell?
Yep. if you have like a big hinge date coming up, and you're like, man, she could be the one. Like we've had great conversations. I can't wait to finally meet her. You need to go to Taco Bell. You need to shove your cheesy gordita crunches and like beefy 5-layer burritos down your gullet.
Treat yourself like absolute shit so that you look terrible, so that you can only go up from there. Set the bar as low as humanly possible. It's one of my mottos to life, really. Anyway, so having a shitload of rambunctious, drunk shit kickers unleashing all their built-up aggression while I'm just trying to enjoy this edible and bob my head and hold my woman in peace while I enjoy the tunes was pretty distracting. And it was overwhelming, man. Like, I'm still recovering. It was draining. For those of you who have gotten back out there and gotten to do something social, whether it be a wedding or a concert or whatever, I'm sure you felt it too. Like the next day, you're kind of like, God damn. Even that night, like when I got home, I was just like, my brain overstimulated. J-Bone.
Yeah.
I also couldn't help but notice every potential COVID exchange. like when someone would brush up against someone, I'm standing there still, and we stayed in the back because like I want to enjoy the show, but also like I know the odds right now. I know math. And this was an indoor venue. So stayed in the back, kept our distance from everybody, enjoyed the music. But as I'm watching the show, I'd see stuff happening in the foreground. And at one point, I actually got so overstimulated by what was happening on stage. And Shane's up there just crushing at him. It's a 5-man band. And they've got, the fiddle player up there just going absolutely nuts on cocaine. And so I'm like, I can't watch this shit anymore. Like 45 minutes in, I was like, I got to look at people in the crowd. I got to people watch. To calm my mind. And I found this woman in the crowd that was dancing like it was the greatest night of her entire life. And I was like, well, there's my person right there. But I couldn't help but notice every time somebody would bump into somebody, brush into somebody, lean in to whisper to somebody in their ear and then get bumped by somebody and end up like falling into, I was like, oh, potential COVID exchange. I just couldn't help it. I could not stop my stoned brain from registering like, oh shit, there was one. They could be COVIDed now. Which actually kind of brings us to our first segment, like our first official segment of the episode, J-Bone. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
Places the pandemic permanently ruined. So as we desperately attempt to piece back together our society, cramming into restaurants, bars, and movie theaters, ready to expel over 16 months worth of tension and anger, I have noticed there are some places that no matter how hard we try, no matter how much the world attempts to return to normal, will just never be the same, right? Like, I think concert venues will return to normal eventually for me. It's just going to take a little time. I'll have to hit a few before my brain stops registering those moments. But there are some places that no amount of time is going to stop me from recognizing that they're not a good idea. Mm-hmm. Like, as an example, Dave & Buster's. Now, Dave & Buster's is one of my favorite places on earth. I've been a power card holder since the ripe age of 8 years old, racking up rewards points for over 26 years now.
Have you ever like actually got something with your reward points? Are you still the guy who like, oh, I want to hold out for the Nintendo Switch, and by the time you're like ready to redeem, it's already like 2 generation consoles later?
Well, Jared, unfortunately, according to the DaveandBusters.com rewards points stipulations, if you see item 3, reward points cannot be redeemed for prizes. Which makes you wonder, the fuck are these rewards points for? I don't know.
Food?
The answer to that question. I say here. According to DaveandBusters.com, Dave & Buster's rewards members who have registered their power card can earn free gameplay for every 100 rewards points they earn. Members earn 1 rewards points for every $1 they spend on food, beverages, and games at Dave & Buster's. That's a 10% savings just for having fun. All caps fun.
I feel like it's a 10% savings for spending a certain amount of money.
Look, the whole thing is a racket, man. I've talked about it before, but you spend $200 to win enough tickets to buy a $60 Xbox game. Who won?
Well, but right, you just referenced the 40% increase for you having fun.
The rest of the fee was the fun.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
You can't. What, you think you can have fun for free these days?
Okay, this is the part of the podcast where I reiterate that Dave & Buster's is simply a device for corporate America to program our youth to be ready for casinos. Yep. It worked really, really well on me, as I am now a degenerate gambler who desperately craves the action Las Vegas offers to feel alive. Mm-hmm. That's what it is.
Yep. Got me into crypto. Dave & Buster's.
See? Can also inspire good things. D&B. it's in all seriousness, I had some of my best memories of my entire childhood. Some of my fondest memories with my grandma and my little brother are at Dave & Buster's. But I don't think I'll ever be able to go back and enjoy the games with just sticky kids' fingers and hands and just gross. What kind of an adult spends their time at D&B? Go to an actual casino, you slothing fool.
I went to a Dave & Buster's within the last 3 years, I want to say. It wasn't great. They're really, 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 really surprisingly crowded, okay? And I'm not sure why. I think it's because
Dude, on the weekend, it is popping in there.
I think parents want to get drunk and hey, kids, go fucking play your games.
That's exactly what it is. He hit the nail on the head. The parents want to get faded. Really, that's always what parents are trying to do. Find events where they can get faded and take their child, and their child will be safe. And at Dave & Buster's, you go get faded, and your kid can play video games. What better situation? They're stuck in the enclosed area of the D&B. It's not easy to find your way out of there. I will say you could lose a kid quite easily in there if you were faded. It's a large area.
It is. And probably a breeding ground for sexual predators.
Almost definitely. So you really should keep a weather eye on your child. If Dave & Buster's ever wants to sponsor this show, I will not retract any of these statements. I just want to put that out there for their corporate team.
Here's a really random Dave & Buster's.
These are jokes.
Yeah, these are jokes. Allegedly, he's joking.
Just for their lawyers, just specifically for the D&B lawyers. These are jokes.
There was a Dave & Buster's that I used to go to. I believe it was in Orlando.
Okay.
And
the Orlando Dave & Buster's, man, I bet it was a fucking sight to see.
It was a standalone building.
Pre-pandy.
I think many of them are standalone buildings, actually.
They're always standalone Well, that's not true. I think sometimes they're in like gallerias or malls or whatever, big structures. But most of the time, every single one I've ever been to, I think, has been in a standalone building.
Potentially a McDonald's own the real estate situation they have going on. I don't know.
Don't know.
I think I put money into, but this is totally unrelated. I think I bought Dave & Buster's. I think I did a Dave & Buster's option.
And you bought some stock?
I think I bought a call on Dave & Buster's.
Well, don't complicate it, Jared.
I think I bought a derivative.
I don't know what a call is, Jared. I don't
financial...
have to ask you what it is because then you have to explain it to me, and that's boring.
I lost money betting that Dave & Buster's during the pandemic was going to do good. Don't ask me why.
That was an idiotic bet.
It was a Wall Street bets thing where you do the opposite of what you think is going to happen because that's what's actually going to happen because that's how the stock market works. It didn't work out for me.
That's also exactly how sports betting works, just for the record.
Yes.
And that's exactly what people end up doing on sports betting.
Anyway, this one Dave & Buster's had a video game, and it was, like Golden Tee Golf has got the little trackball, and you pull it back and push your hand through it, and that's how you operate. They had that exact same thing, but instead of being golf, it was a video game with a trackball for lawn darts. Are you familiar with lawn darts, Ross?
Like beanbags?
No. Lawn darts. Look it up right now. Look up lawn darts. So lawn darts are these humongous darts, and you kind of like cornhole, you do an underhand toss and try to make them into a target. For some reason,
why the hell do we have so many variations of the same game? Washers, lawn darts, beanbag throwing, horseshoes a little different.
So lawn darts, Ross.
But yeah, same but different.
Is for some reason illegal in some states.
Yeah, maybe it's because it looks like this could go straight through your freaking foot. This looks insanely unsafe. Again, why not play a safe version of this exact same game? But this should be the version we play as adults. It's the most risky one and therefore the most fun.
Why is it illegal to throw a big spike into your front yard?
I'm guessing, and it's because I'm looking at some of the older marketing here, and it was aimed at very small children. And that seems not good. Oh, and there are columns about this. There's one on Mashable called The Rise and Fall of Lawn Darts. Wow. Interesting stuff. Maybe a future stuff to Wikipedia when you're high. Lawn darts.
I think it should be. Can we be a lawn dart podcast? Commit to this before reading the stuff to Wikipedia when you're high. You don't know if little Timmy took a dart to the head and died.
Absolutely. No matter how many children were murdered during lawn dart games, we are now a lawn darts podcast, and that's just the way it is, Jared.
Perfect.
Again, rewards points cannot be redeemed for prizes.
But they're fun.
Yeah. So D&B is one of those places where it's just in the post-COVID world, man, I'll never look at it the same unless I can I'm not a germaphobe, really. I'm really, really not. I know people who are germaphobes to compare myself to. I would say that I am a relatively, I'm just a conscious person with my health. And so it's something I'm aware of. And now Dave & Buster's is sort of permanently sullied. Just like public restrooms, right? Splashback was a problem before. Now it's the least of my concerns. right? Bowling alleys, like that's a lot of different fingers in the same holes.
And feet in shoes.
Disgusting ass, on and off again, somehow semi-fashionable clown shoes that everyone is wearing. Yeah, like, and like children's playgrounds, man, like Chuck E. Cheese, Discovery Zone, like all those kinds of places. Did you have one of those in Florida? What did y'all have?
We had, it was called
Did you have Chuck E. Cheese?
Celebration Station.
Yeah, man, Celebration Station. We had that too in Houston.
We had Chuck E. Cheese.
Celebration Station was bomb because they also had go-karts and shit. That was a big-ass facility.
They had go-karts, and they had the go-karts that are rafts.
You know what's crazy?
Bumper boats.
Is it at Chuck E. Cheese when they were making budgeting decisions, they were like, hey, like one guy like Ted was like, what about go-karts? And they were like, shut the fuck up, Ted. What we need is animatronic singing animals to terrify and traumatize these children for the rest of their lives. And that's where they put the money instead of go-karts, which I think was a mistake by Chuck E. Cheese.
Celebration Station actually had the animatronic animals as well.
See?
Theirs was a dog.
They just had it all, man. They said, we're doing everything. Ball pit, play zone, video games, go-karts, lawn darts.
Yeah. The best thing about arcades growing up was putting your tickets into the ticket eater. Oh, that thing ate those fucking tickets, man.
You know what we call that here, Jared? Huh. A nut moment.
It's a nut moment. You're
that
right.
was a nut moment. One we never mentioned in any of the previous nut moment segments, Jared. That's huge.
Wow.
It's a big moment for you as co-host.
It's my first nut moment. Holy shit.
God, do you feel good right now?
I feel really
nutted
good.
So hard, dude. Oh. Relief. Right?
But like the feeling of it just gobbles it up, and it's got the little robot head, and it just like, and it just pulls it in so nice.
Yeah, it's really, really, really satisfying.
And especially if you had folded yours correctly to where it would feed it, like you could feed 100 tickets, and you could just hold it in your hand, and it would eat out of there, just go back and forth, just eating them out.
Dude, when they went to a card system eventually, it took the tickets out of most of the games because the card system kept points instead of like, so when you just swiped, it would keep track of how much you won, and that sucked. Because when me and my brother and my grandma used to go to Dave & Buster's, and any D&B vet knows this, you show up right when they open the doors. And most of the machines, when they first get turned on, churn out X amount of tickets when they fire up, when they boot up, so that it makes sure it works. And half the time, the D&B guys are too lazy to walk around and collect them. So if you get there when the doors open, and I did this many, many times with my little brother, you just run around and rip the tickets that are out. There's a bunch of exposed, free, first come, first served tickets there at Dave & Buster's, if you didn't know. And that was huge for us.
How many would you get?
Lots, man.
Damn.
But you don't understand. Like we balled really hard at this. Like it was obnoxious. Like, you know when you're at the casino and you're having a good time with your boys, and then you see a table of people who's clearly several tax brackets up above you, and they're balling on a level that is not achievable for you and your squad. Me and my little brother were that at Dave & Buster's. All the other kids were like, Mommy, can I get some more tokens to play the games? I'm out. Look at those kids, they're having so much fun. Me and my brother were over there making it fucking rain. My grandma was insane. She had no concept for money. We were like 9 years. I'd be 9 years old. My brother's fucking 4. She'd be like, here's $200. We were like, Grandma, we're going to be here for 6.5 hours. She was like, I don't care. I love watching y'all have fun.
Damn.
Which is why you call your grandparents during Call Your Grandparents Month, of which today is one of the final days. Do we have another day in August?
One more.
Tomorrow.
One more.
Call your grandparents. They'll take you to Dave & Buster's.
They will.
Pre-Pandy. Get a time machine.
Don't drag your grandparents to a Dave & Buster's.
Yeah, do not take grandma or grandpa to Dave & Buster's right now. I'm not saying you should do that. You should not.
The weirdest thing about the tickets was that the way they would count before the meter reader, or the ticket eater, whatever you want to call it, before the ticket eater. I don't know why I called it a meter reader.
I don't either. It all rhymed though, and that made me happy.
What they would do is you give them your tickets, they throw them into a big old wash bin, put the wash bin on a scale, and the scale had like factored in how much each ticket weighed. Like, knowing that now,
that was horse shit.
What I would probably do is like find a way to stick a weight in there, right? Or like something.
There's literally an episode of The Sopranos where Christopher Moltisanti is buying fish at a fish market, and they have the scale out and they're putting the fish on it, and he tips the scale with a matchbox, not a matchbox, but a little thing of matches, so that he can be like, whoa, what the fuck? And he ends up getting like a discount on the fish or whatever. But in hindsight, that ticket counting machine has to have been the reason they eventually went to the card system, because that thing sucked ass. That was bullshit. You dumped all your tickets in there and it was like, oh yeah, it's this much roundabout there, maybe. Like, what the fuck? I don't care if it knew exactly how much one ticket weighed. I don't trust the tech. It's the tech, Jared. that had to have been lacking. You're telling me Dave & Buster's was shelling out enough cash for accurate ticket counting weighing buckets? I don't think so, man.
I don't know. Well, there's.
I was skeptical of that system.
Yeah, the evolution when it would be they would weigh your tickets in the bucket. That was the worst one, and then they improved it potentially. We don't know with the implementation of the meter reader, many call it, also known as the ticket eater. We don't know how accurate the ticket eater was. They distracted us by making it feel so good to feed it that you didn't care how many tickets it gave you.
Yeah, you couldn't even keep your eye on the counter because you were too busy orgasming. Yeah.
I want to fucking... And definitely the ultimate paper cut machine. If you have your hand in the wrong place, that thing is sucking an entire roll of tickets through your finger.
Yeah, but I don't know, though, man. Somehow the tickets were also made to, like, not do paper cuts somehow. Like, I don't know. Because I'd just sit there and just let it, like... just thread through my fingers, you know? Also, of note, if you were balling hard enough like me and my brother were, and you could play the games where you could win big-time tickets... One of the more satisfying nut moments you could achieve in Dave & Buster's was to have the ticket machine feed, and you made it stack automatically so that it was folding back into itself and creating the stack for you so that you're not even having to do it. That
is perfect.
Chef's kiss.
Do you know what would be a big dick move? Would be to win a lot of tickets in a machine in a game near the ticket eater, and just feed them directly from the machine into the ticket eater.
You know what? In hindsight, we went to a fraternity and sorority fucking party thing at a Dave & Buster's in college. That's wildly inappropriate. Don't take your kids at night. I think it gets weird in there at night. That's one of the things about Dave & Buster's that was always creepy. When you go to the entrance, you're walking in and it's very strip club-esque, like almost alarmingly so. And then everything at the front of it is the pool tables and like the bar and the restaurant area for adults. And then you go to the back, and that's where the games are. But you have to go down this long corridor of like where all the shameful stuff takes place before you can get to the kids' games. And that weirded me out. There's people in there at night, and I don't know what they're doing. And I don't want to know.
So I do have a couple things for me that the pandemic has potentially ruined.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it's ruined them because, as many people know from listening to the podcast, I'm the opposite of a germaphobe. I've jumped into many trash cans. Yep. I took a shot of Ringed Out Bar Rag.
Yes.
Snorted a line of Country Time Lemonade powder.
Also true.
Don't really care about much. However, one thing, salad bars.
Oh, man.
Because E. coli was the first straw, right?
Yeah.
Like when E. coli outbreaks happened every
when they
week.
Installed the shields everywhere. We've had shields. Pre-Pandy, we had shields already on the salad bars. You got to think that was probably the last straw for them. They're on their way out. Jason's Deli, last time I was there, a few weeks ago, Jared, salad bar was closed.
Yep.
So was the ice cream distribution machine.
Yep. Why would you go to Jason's Deli if you're not getting the ice cream?
I was only there for the soft serve, Jared.
Yep.
And I was served hard.
Yeah, because
my life.
I don't know what happened with lettuce in the last 5 years. I mean, Chipotle doesn't know either because they keep having this. The lettuce crisis. The lettuce just has E. coli all the time. Once every month.
Half of the Chipotle menu items have E. coli, Jared. If you go to Chipotle at this point, you're accepting E. coli with your order.
So I was like, okay, getting lettuce anywhere, E. coli has a chance. Now I got COVID maybe from the salad bar.
That's why we take as many napkins as we do, though, because we know the E. coli is coming. We want to offset that with as many napkins as possible.
But now we have the Italian cured meats have salmonella, and those are at a lot of salad bars, and it's like, come on.
We can't catch a break.
No.
Shortages with everything, too.
Oh, God.
Okay, so salad bars destroyed.
Yeah, I got one more. And this one is more so to do with, like, well, I'll just get into it. Community tables at restaurants. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I'm referring to by this?
I do.
The long picnic...
The big tables.
Yeah, the long picnic table-esque benches that are designed to host more than one party at a time. I go to a restaurant, and you're like, hey, you're here with your party, and a party of 4, right? All right, well, you're with that party of 4. Here's them.
I've always hated restaurants that force community upon you. This is a big thing in like New York City, Los Angeles.
New York City.
Densely populated cities, big ones, metropolitan areas, because they have very small spaces. So it'll be like you'll go place your order and then there's like a bench that everybody sits on.
Yeah.
And you just go sit next to a stranger and you eat your food, which I thought was insane before. Now, I don't go to those places.
Exactly. Like 6 feet of social distancing has made it like, okay, cool. Like we've killed community tables at restaurants, which is amazing, right? Like I came to this restaurant with my party. And then you have me sitting down next to this dude, and both of us are like both pretending like we're not completely eavesdropping on the other conversation when obviously we both are, you know?
Yeah, I'm literally, when I'm at a table like that or a situation like that, like oftentimes it's a coffee shop where you're in that place, right? I am not doing anything except paying attention to what everyone else is doing. That's what I do. I watch the other humans.
I can't even enjoy the company of the people I came with because I'm so invested in like, oh yeah, Deborah, she applied to a job. Like she's got second round interview soon. Who's Deborah? I don't know. Where'd she apply? I don't know.
She's over there, though. On the phone with that guy. You know?
Yeah.
Yep.
Fucking.
What else did it ruin for you? Was that it?
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
I'm still going to do ringed out bar rag shots.
That's enough negativity for one day, I think, Jared.
I think so, too.
Well, this episode of RBP is also brought to you by Cuts Clothing. Fellows, the sport of business means demanding excellence from your craft and your wardrobe. Your fits need to be versatile, blending timeless style and comfort so that you look as good as you feel. And for that, there's Cuts Clothing. They're the best T-shirts in the game. Happen to be wearing my Masters tee today, but if I wasn't, I'd have a Cuts on. I often do. You see them on my body on Twitch all the time and our clips on social media and such. They're built for performance in the bedroom, the bar, or the gym. Cuts Clothing keeps you sharp wherever the game takes you. You take the plain tee, make it Tony Stark. The bleeding edge of fabric technology meets the man confident enough to wear it. That is Cuts Clothing. GQ magazine calls it the only shirt worth wearing, and genuinely, they are my favorite T-shirts that I own now. I probably have 7 different colors. I have a couple different cuts of the Cuts Clothing shirts. In fact, they've got really athletic cuts. They've got ones that you can make a little more casual. They've got longer ones, shorter ones. Fits for whatever it is that you like, and they're extremely comfortable and good-looking. Entrepreneurs, mavericks, athletes, podcast hosts, everyone loves Cuts. They're echoing GQ. It's the only shirt worth wearing. It's not just a lifestyle. It's not just clothing. It's office leisure apparel for the sport of business.
Business is a sport.
It is. This month marks the Cuts 5th anniversary. Congratulations, Cuts. They're doing it big with 2 collection drops, a product launch, and a week-long special event. Go to cutsclothing.com/RBP to catch the back end. I believe it's been extended, that 25% off site-wide during their anniversary sale when you go to cutsclothing.com/RBP. 25% off site-wide during their 5th anniversary sale at cutsclothing.com/RBP.
Josh Campbell, Corporal, United States Marine Corps.
Second Lieutenant Jackson Howard, U.S. Army.
This is EO2 Elsesser from the U.S. Navy.
Mary Jo Milestrup, Lieutenant Commander, U.S. Coast Guard.
Lance Corporal Levering, United States Marine Corps.
This is retired Brigadier General Guy Walsh, former commander of the 175th Wing, Maryland Air National Guard, and commander of the 451st Air Expeditionary Wing, Kandahar, Afghanistan.
Air Force Second Lieutenant John Hankins.
83 Grant Sisk, United States Navy.
And this is Ross Bolen's badass vet you haven't heard of.
The guy at the end gets it for me.
Gang, gang. All right, today's badass vet you haven't heard of, which is a recurring segment here if you're new, which is why we have that incredible theme music. We didn't just make that for today's episode. In fact, I think over half of the people who you just heard from are actual listeners of this show. Isn't that something? Today's badass vet is Dick Bong.
Pardon me?
Richard Bong, B-O-N-G, spelled like it sounds like it smokes. Bong was born September 24th of 1920 in Superior, Wisconsin, Jared.
Oh, see, Superior, Wisconsin. I know a lot about it.
A Wisco guy. Whiskey, excuse me.
Yeah, I know it's not a Superior city.
Oh. Well, he was the first of 9 children, which reminds me, my grandma, again, it is Call Your Grandparents Month, you should do so. 11 siblings, one of 11.
Quite a bit.
People used to pop out kids, man, like crazy.
I'll say one thing about Superior before I let you move on, because
Okay.
whenever Wisconsin comes up on the podcast, I just feel this urge to like talk about it.
Sure.
'Cause I love Wisconsin. I was just there actually last week.
Jared went to college at the University of Wisconsin.
Yep, was at a wedding there in northern Wisconsin. Actually, probably only like 2 hours from Superior recently.
really?
Well, so here's how it works. Superior is on Lake Superior. Did you know that, Ross?
I kind of maybe was going to ask, but I also often sound stupid and was going to avoid this moment.
So it's on Lake Superior, and it's like right on the border of Minnesota and Wisconsin, okay?
Okay.
So on the other side, on the Minnesota side, is Duluth. So Duluth and Superior are like twin cities, kind of, right? Not as cool as the Minneapolis-St. Paul twin cities.
Is it like a rivalry thing, like with Springfield and whatever that city was that Springfield was rivals?
Shelbyville?
Shelbyville?
It's
Springfield
not.
and Shelbyville?
It's not. Here's why.
Okay.
Because Duluth is like 25 times nicer than Superior.
Oh,
No
so
offense.
it's just not close.
No offense to Superior, but like, come on, Duluth's far, far better.
Okay.
It's far superior.
Harsh words
Yeah.
from our Wisconsin reviewer.
Yep.
Jared. Anyway, he was the first of 9 children born to Carl Bong, which is also somehow equally funny as Dick Bong, an immigrant from Sweden, and Dora Bryce, who was an American of Scots-English descent and had to have been mildly concerned with the taking of her husband's name before that marriage. Known by the common nickname Dick, he grew up on a farm in Poplar, Wisconsin, where he became interested in aircraft at an early age while watching planes fly over the farm carrying mail for President Calvin Coolidge's summer White House in Superior.
That's a weird place for a summer White House.
Is it not? Calvin sounds mad lame.
I'm a big Calvin Coolidge guy. He was same fraternity as me.
Oh, yeah?
We had
Elder brothers?
we had to memorize. His quote is like a big
It's a
Fiji
thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent, Ross.
Ours was Robert E. Lee.
That's not good.
No, it's not. He was also an avid model builder, and that's not Robert E. Lee or Calvin Coolidge. I'm referring again to Bong.
And model builder, you mean like built like sex dolls?
No, models of airplanes,
Oh.
Jared. He was obsessed with them. Bong's ability as a fighter pilot was recognized while he was in training in Northern California. He was commissioned as a second lieutenant and awarded his pilot wings on January 19th of 1942. So he gets into the Air Force, okay? On June 12th in 1942, this is right after he gets his pilot's wings. He's been in there for 6 months. He buzzed a house, which means he flew literally right above it, in nearby San Anselmo, the home of a pilot who had just been married, like as a prank, right? He gets cited. He's temporarily grounded for breaking flying rules, along with 3 other P-38 pilots who had looped around the Golden Gate Bridge on the same day, which is apparently another thing they did. They looped the Golden Gate Bridge, while people were driving on it, which is not a thing you can do in 2021 and get away with. But you could in 1942, apparently. So anyway, it was a bit of a maverick, Dick Bong. He got out there and did wild stunts. When he got busted for this whole bridge looping and house buzzing incident, he was reprimanded by General George C. Kinney, commanding officer of the 4th Air Force, who told him, "If you didn't want to fly down Market Street, I wouldn't have you in my Air Force. But you are not to do it anymore, and I mean what I say." So this was very much a Top Gun situation, where it was like the maverick nature of Bong that made him appealing, but also made him dangerous.
I haven't seen Top Gun.
Kinney later wrote, "We needed kids like this lad." I'm
So-
sorry, pause the show. What the fuck did you just say?
I've never seen Top Gun.
God, we have a lot of work to do, Jared.
Yep.
That's got to be on the short list of ones we watch together first for the Patreon or whatever, when we get to that.
Is that the one that has the volleyball scene?
It is very homoerotic. Tom Cruise, Val Kilmer, sexy, shirtless, sweaty, glistening, abs, buys, tries,
Can we watch that first?
thighs, short jorts, Jared. You getting hot?
They played volleyball in jorts.
I can't explain it. It's the Air Force, baby. So to get back to the overall legend of Dick Bong, he joins the Air Force once he's able after being obsessed with flight and flying his whole childhood, ends up becoming a major and Medal of Honor recipient in World War II. So this dude was massively successful, not just some slapdick who looped a bridge once, okay? He's one of the most decorated American fighter pilots and the country's top flying ace in World War II, credited with shooting down 40 Japanese aircraft, all with the Lockheed P-38 Lightning fighter, which is kind of part of his legend, this P-38 thing. He died in California while testing a Lockheed P-80 jet shortly before the war ended, which is a bummer. Dick Bong didn't even get to see the end of the war, man.
What do you think he would have done to celebrate?
Ripped a big old bong, hopefully. Well, I guess it could have been made of dick. His preference.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Richard I. Bong Veterans Historical Center now exists in Superior, Wisconsin, housed in a structure intended to resemble an aircraft hangar. I love that they put intended to resemble an aircraft hangar as if they somehow botched it and it resembles like a McDonald's. It contains a museum, a film screening room, and a P-38 Lightning restored to resemble Bong's plane.
See, I wish it would have been housed in like an old Pizza Hut. You know how you see the old you're like, oh shit, that used to be a Pizza Hut, but now it's like
now it's Dick Bong's Aircraft Museum. Is that the name of the episode? Dick Bong's Aircraft Museum?
It might be.
Certainly an option, Jared. Certainly an option. And that was our badass vet you haven't heard of. Not sure if you know, but another Paul brother won a boxing match last night.
I watched.
I did not participate or bet on this one. I'm very proud of myself for saving that wager for a real sporting event like football. But that's just my personal opinion. If you want to bet on the next Paul brother rigamaroni or the NFL season that's about to start, there's one place you can bet on sports and support the podcast at the same time. That's MyBookie.ag. When you use the code RBP upon sign up, all the live lines, prop bets, and futures you can handle for betting on sports. They also have a fantastic casino if you're not into the sports betting stuff, and a live casino for you to play in while you watch sports if you want to go full degen. The live casino, you can actually see the dealers and stuff. It's cool. I've enjoyed many hours in MyBookie.ag's casino at this point. Use code RBP for a deposit bonus when you sign up today at MyBookie.ag. And enjoy, have some fun, support the pod, and do your sports betting at the same time. Code RBP when you sign up, mybookie.ag today. But yeah, I have absolutely zero interest now in the Paul brother deal. The whole appeal for me was to see them, or one of them at least, get knocked out by somebody of note. And that just keeps not happening. And two fights in a row, I bet against the Paul and lost, and I'm out. He won again? What the hell?
I watched the whole thing. And I'm not proud of it, but like it was definitely took up my whole last night.
So here's what unfolded on Twitter. Can I tell you? And I want to see if it matches up.
Mm-hmm.
Fight starts. Paul's a heavy favorite, gambling wise, I think, or at least negative -160 or something when I saw it beforehand. Okay, so he's a favorite. Woodley looks like the first guy that's going to give him actual trouble, right? Like this is a real fighter. What's his background, Woodley?
I mean, he was a welterweight MMA UFC champion.
Okay, so this dude's legit.
Like a multiple time.
So the first really legit, I guess, seasoned guy with a record that can prove it, right?
Yeah,
but he's old.
He's been washed up. He lost his last like 3 or 4 fights in UFC in a row.
He's very old.
Don't know if he's ever going to go back to UFC. But in his day, very, very good.
And a dangerous guy.
I've also met him. Very nice.
So it was a one that a lot of people had interest in for that reason.
He's the first guy with knockout power that Jake Paul has faced.
Right.
Who like catch him and just put him down.
So on Twitter, it looked like when the fight started that people were like, oh, wow, Jake is in trouble. Because this is a real fighter and he's clearly getting winded and this guy's landing real shots. And like at one point he was up against the ropes. So I kind of tune out thinking like, well, he's going to get worked here. Then I tune back in and he's won by fucking decision. And I was just like,
split decision, yeah.
Okay. And people seem to be impressed overall with his performance. What was your takeaway?
Okay, so I can judge UFC, which I've watched a lot more of, more than boxing. Boxing judging is kind of weird because
especially when you're watching a washed UFC fighter and a YouTube guy box.
Yeah. Like undeniably the whole fight, Tyron was the aggressor. Like he's in the middle of the ring, moving Jake Paul around the edge. Pretty much the entire fight, right? Tyron got one really good shot on Jake that put him into the ropes, and that's the picture you see of him like falling against him. It was a split second. I mean, he caught him. Jake kind of fell sideways, fell into the ropes, got right back up. He never was like a knockout. I don't think they even stopped the fight for that.
Right.
Because it was just kind of like a light thing.
Yeah.
That was the biggest moment of aggression in the whole fight. Jake definitely caught Tyron a couple times, but it's like when he caught Tyron would just eat it and go back to punching Jake. So I figured,
it's not like he was like badly hurt.
Yeah. If you were judging the fight at the end of the fight, who was more aggressive and came out like
and controlled it?
Yeah, and controlled it. I would have said Tyron, but boxing apparently they judge it differently.
There's a point system with how many shots you land and all that, and then also it's rigged. So, makes it complicated.
So I'm not like I get why you could say Jake won, but like I thought Tyron was more in control of the fight, but I guess Jake technically may have beaten him.
The only thing that matters though, were you entertained?
At the end, yes. At the end, no. I wanted a knockout either way. I didn't care who got knocked out at all. I wanted Jake on the floor or I wanted Tyron on the floor. I didn't care who.
And that's the real bummer about what we're getting here is it's like the safest possible, most padded version of boxing. And it's like, that's why we love UFC, man, because we're discussing and we want to see people bleed.
Did you see how it ended? The ending was the best part by far.
No.
After the fight, Tyron said very clearly and almost transparently, Tyron, this is obviously the biggest money-making opportunity Tyron's going to have for the rest of his career.
And has ever had in his career.
And, at his peak in UFC, he may have made more than he made this fight, but I'm not totally
sure. I don't know,
sure.
man. They're raking in money with these fucking Paul fights, dude.
Yeah, true. I don't know. So at the end, Tyron goes, like, because they're like, Jake, who do you want to fight next? He's like, oh, maybe Tommy Fury, who's a fighter. Jake's like, I'm going to take some time off. And Tyron takes the mic and is like, hey, don't fight Tommy, fight me. Like, we already drew this big crowd. We can draw another even bigger one for the rematch. And Jake's like, I already beat you, man. And they had this kind of thing before the fight that the loser was going to get like an I love Jake Paul or an I love Tyron Woodley tattoo, I guess.
Right.
And so Jake said, if you get the I love Jake Paul tattoo before the fight, I'll do the rematch. And Tyron goes, yep, okay. So as of right now, Tyron's going to get an I love Jake Paul tattoo. I mean, and then fight him.
If you told me, yo, Ross, we're going to give you $1 million and all you have to do is get a I love Jake Paul tattoo, I'm getting that tattoo. Probably, depending on where it has to be.
That's what people are saying.
They're like, face.
They're like, yeah, he just paid Tyron Woodley millions of dollars to get a tattoo.
So we're talking about he's making definitely more than $1 million.
Oh, yeah.
I would guess up to 20 would be my height of where I think Tyron gets money out of these fights with Paul. But you have to do it.
Oh, yeah.
You have to do it. So good for them and their money. And speaking of entertainment and the entertainment industry, now the topic many of you are likely here for today.
Yes.
Finally, Kanye West has dropped his 10th studio album named after his late mother, Donda. Actually, he says his label put it out without his permission, which is utterly hysterical. Like, I imagine the head of Universal in Cabo on the phone with his people back in New York City, like, I've been listening to a bootleg version of this fucking thing for 3 weeks. Just put it out. I don't care anymore. Because here's the thing. Universal is watching the illegal streams, and that's money waving bye-bye to them for weeks now. So allegedly they put it out without his approval. Who knows if that's right or wrong. There was all this controversy right before the release. He started putting up these Instagram posts with screenshots of conversations between him and some producer that was dealing with DaBaby's management that wouldn't sign off on his version of Jail, which for those of you who remember, we talked about DaBaby and Marilyn Manson being inserted into a version of the song Jail that originally had Jay-Z. Well, the original version with Jay-Z is the first track on this album, is the first song on Donda, the official release.
Well, after the first song, which is just somebody saying Donda.
Donda, 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 Donda.
That pissed me off.
Donda,
that song.
Donda.
He clearly stole that from Panda, right?
Donda.
Panda.
Donda.
Donda.
I don't know, but I'm going to do that with my mom's name when I drop my first album, Jared. Debbie. First song on the album, Jail, has Jay-Z's version. Then, after the release, they slid Jail Part 2 in on the end. You know how now they can add songs after a release because it's all digital anyway. So they put Jail Part 2 featuring Marilyn Manson and DaBaby in after the fact. So it is on there, and we're going to talk about that a little. But Jared, by the way, has heard a few of the songs, but not the whole album. But Jared, feel free to sprinkle in ignorant takes wherever you see fit.
Yep.
And I should start this quasi-review by saying this is admittedly an album that hits for me as, 1, a lifelong Kanye fan, 2, a pandemic divorcee, 3, a mental health advocate and fighter who has dealt with a lot of what Kanye has dealt with while weaning off of this medication I'm weaning off of with mania and depression and suicidal thoughts and ideations and the whole shebang, 4, a Christian man. So, like, there's a lot in this that fits exactly in my wheelhouse, right? But no matter who you are, and no matter what you've thought of Kanye's last several albums, to me, this is his most complete and cohesive work since My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. It's a full album. It's got like 24 tracks or 27 tracks or something now. I don't know. He keeps adding songs. But it feels like an evolution of all of his prior works, which is what you want from a musician. And watching it unfold from the first listening party through the third listening party that I didn't watch at all, but I did hear the versions of the songs from, and hearing all those different iterations of the songs as they were born was really, really cool. Like, as a big fan, this ended up being the coolest album release I've ever seen because I got to be a part of the watching the music get made. And at the beginning, I was freaked out. I was like, oh, God, just like every other Kanye fan, like, oh, please don't be like another full-blown gospel album, right? Like, when I realized it wasn't going to be that, like a dumpster fire of gospel rhymes written at a third grade reading level, I started to get excited. And with every listen to the bootleg version, I slowly convinced myself this might actually be worth the wait, and I was freaking right, baby. I don't know if it's that this man is only capable of producing great albums after extreme heartbreak because so much of his music is inspired and fueled by trauma and struggle, but this is good, man. This is like, it's got, as Jared said, Jared, you said you got a few songs in and you were like, this is not my Sunday vibe.
Yeah, I was like on a Sunday run trying to like be like,
upbeat. You want
sunshine
motivation.
and daydreams.
So either sunshine and two options for me. Excuse me, when I go on a Sunday run, what you're describing, sunshine and daydream songs, upbeat alt rock or whatever the fuck, right? Or Eminem's Till I Collapse style rap, like shit that's like gets me going, not like Donda.
Yeah,
Donda,
that was
Donda,
the first 2 minutes of my run, and I was like, "What the fuck did I just do?"
This, man? Yeah, I feel you. I get it. It's definitely a mood, as the kids would say. Like, this is, you got to be in the mood for Ye. I played it all day yesterday, and when I turned it off in the afternoon after like 6 or 7 spins, my girlfriend was like, "Thank you. That was too much. I think it's been driving me insane all day. Now I feel free." And I was just like, oh shit, I'm sorry. Because it is dark, it is moody, it is a little depressing, and it doesn't have, like My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy had from the get-go, the feel that no matter if you were sad or happy or whatever, you were kind of like, this is a story I'm going to be participating in here. And there's an upbeat nature to it. It's not such a downer. Like, I feel like engaged. With this, if you're listening and you're in a really good mood, the first couple tracks, you're going to be like, okay, maybe later. Because, like, it's not up. It starts down. I mean, Jail is the most arguably upbeat song on the album, but it's also about a very down subject. Like, it's not exactly uplifting, the message.
Is the message...
Guess who's going to jail tonight?
Who is it?
I think it's everyone on the song and all of us. But Kanye definitely thinks he's one of the people going to jail tonight. Marilyn Manson might actually be going to jail tonight. And DaBaby is certainly not, because being a homophobe in and of itself is not a crime in this country. Kanye doesn't seem to be able to differentiate between levels of bad very easily. He sees himself, the guy who got on stage and took Taylor Swift's trophy away, as the same level of bad as Marilyn Manson, who's been accused of like 15 plus women of sexual assault, and DaBaby, who just clearly doesn't know anything about sexuality. So those crimes are not on the same fucking scale, and this guy has some issues. Like, to pretend that Kanye doesn't have some issues with grasping things like that would be silly, and I'm not going to sit here and defend that. It's fucking crazy to include Marilyn Manson on your album in 2021.
Yeah, no.
It's an idiotic fucking move. He's trying to make some statement about cancel culture, and it just isn't there.
Most people who are like under the age of 21 don't even know who Marilyn Manson is.
So on top of it not being worth it because he's irrelevant, you're just supporting a like repeat sex criminal allegedly. And these aren't like, with Deshaun Watson, it's a bunch of masseuses and women, or people cast all this doubt on it. Just random chicks. Who the fuck cares what they say? We're talking about like Evan Rachel Wood. Very famous, one of the Game of Thrones actresses is one of the other Marilyn Manson accusees.
Oh, really?
It's a lot of women, and it's a lot of prevalent women too. Not that it makes a difference. I'm just saying, if you're one of the people listening, like, oh, Manson's just like, it's alleged. It's like, yeah, it's alleged, but like by a lot of people, and many of whom are in high standing, like that don't strike me as liars at all. Not that even has anything to do with it. That whole like victim shaming side of this is the thing we're trying to work on as a society, right? So that's what I mean. To have Manson there is a direct contradiction to that.
Yeah.
And it's not a good look. Just one of the most bizarre moves in music history. Is it a beautiful song? Yes. I don't give a shit. So is I Believe I Can Fly. I'm not listening to it anymore. You know what I mean? It's like there's just a line somewhere, and he hasn't found it yet, Kanye. So not a fan of that. Part 2 can suck one. I stick with part 1 with the worst Jay-Z verse ever, which we'll also get to in a minute. Because, to get back to one thing, after the third listening party, which Kim Kardashian participated in a wedding dress, it appears they're now mending their relationship. which is just kind of hilarious because they already filed for divorce. I just imagine this has been a massively expensive experience regarding attorney's fees.
Yeah.
That will result in them not actually breaking up, which is just so Kanye and Kim. But no, this is not My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and you're right, haters, but that was more than 11 years ago, man. It's over. Find a new album. He has kids and shit. He's a 44-year-old man. That's 10 years older than me. If I'm still making the exact same jokes in 10 years, I hope one of you comes and kills me.
Oh, wait, so what if, like, you want to joke about spanking my tight little ass?
I think that one's okay. That's ageless. Timeless joke.
Just like my tight little ass.
Just like your tight little ass. So that being said, let's get to some of the worst lines on the album. Let's start with Jay-Z. God in my cell, that's my celly. Made in the image of God, that's a selfie.
This is the only line in the entire album that I actually know. And it's hilarious because it's so bad.
And honestly, I think it's like Jay-Z's attempt at doing what Kanye does a lot, which is write a line that's so bad and stupid that somehow it's good and catchy. But, dude, what was he thinking there? Here's another one. This one's from Baby Keem, who's one of the up-and-coming guys. For those of you who are my age, you may not know Baby Keem. If you're older than me, almost definitely you don't. Here's his line. Bada the boom, I bada the boom, I bada the bing. I need a new girl. My old one was mean. That's a real line he put on an album that's forever out. It's permanent. That's permanent. Everyone can listen to it. My third choice for worst lines on the album is the entire Pop Smoke song. Unless this is supposed to be some kind of statement about how rapping about gun violence can actually lead to your violent demise, which it might be. I don't understand mixing a dead man's "We made it. Look, mama, I made it. And thank God that I made it" bars with lines about AKs in a little 2-minute, like, it's just, we've talked about this. I don't get it. I don't know why it's there. It's not needed. And then maybe the worst line on the whole album, somehow even including Jay-Z's celly and selfie nonsense, is Kanye referencing him and Kim's relationship by saying it's the best collab since, wait for it, Taco Bell and KFC. It's the best collab since Taco Bell and KFC is a real thing, he said, into a microphone that other people listen to. And here's the thing, I know other people listen to it because he fucking aired him forcing other people to listen to it live on Apple Music. So I watched it. I know other people heard it, and nobody went to him and said, you have to take this out.
Like, everybody, even if you like Taco Bell and you like KFC, we can all agree that the combined Taco Bell and KFC storefronts have the worst Taco Bell and worst KFC you'll find anywhere.
It's the worst version of the two combined into one shitty-ass restaurant.
And they throw a pizza in there, too. They're like, fuck it. The other two already suck. Here's the worst Pizza Hut you could have.
Let's get along, John Silver's. Attach that to the backside. This is a fucking disgusting thing to say about yourself and your ex-wife or your now wife or whatever. You and me, baby, we're like Taco Bell and KFC. It's like no woman on earth would hear that and go, I love this man.
I need
God,
Dan Ravel
romantic.
to tell me how much Yum Brand stock has gone up since this release.
That's something that only Darren Ravel could provide us with. Only Darren could provide us with. So let's end on a positive note, though, with the best songs, all right? This is a rotating thing with good albums, like where I have a favorite song one day and another it changes. Today, Jesus Lord is actually my favorite song. It's the first day it's spent in that chart position, actually, in the 2 days the album has been out. It's just such a positive message, man. It's a great song, and it's like what he did with the Jesus is Lord album, which is he made catchy, listenable in any circumstances Christian music is what I would argue. But he did it with like terrible lyrics. This was the next level of that. Like this song, Jesus is Lord, is mostly a Christian message and like a Christian song, but it's dope. It's not shitty. That's what I mean. So that one's my favorite today. But some of the ones I think are like going to hit charts and stuff. Moon, featuring Kid Cudi and Don Toliver, I believe, who I think is another accused rapist, which is, again, problematic, Don Toliver. But Moon is a beautiful song, man. It's a beautiful song. I want to go to the moon. That one, if you don't remember which one that is.
If you put Kid Cudi and you start talking about moons, like
it's over, bro.
That's my favorite.
How are you not going to have Cudi on the song called Moon? Which is funny because he originally didn't, and Kid Cudi had They like linked up after the first listening party and got him on here, which again is why I enjoyed this so much. Get to see the way it's built.
Man on the Moon, the song and album, but the song by Kid Cudi, what a great song.
Great album.
Very sad song, but great song.
The whole album sad.
I mean, it's Kid Cudi. Like, what do you expect?
This man's, man, we talked about he lost his dog recently. Shouts to Kid Cudi, but big mental health guy his whole life, and I know for most people who like hip hop and have struggled with mental health issues, Kid Cudi's kind of a hero. So anything that him and Kanye hop on, I'm in. If they include some dude named Don, I don't know about that dude. I don't know this dude who he is. I'm not going to look any further into him. I don't want to know shit about his career. Next song, Heaven and Hell. Arguably one of the only songs on the album, maybe a handful now, because he inserted more Kanye bars. That was one of my main complaints. There weren't that many Kanye bars in the first listening party, second listening party. The full iteration, final album, we got a lot more. Heaven and Hell is a great song. It's one where he raps his ass off. Hurricane featuring The Weeknd and Lil Baby is awesome. But again, not one you're going to get a lot of fuel out of if you're running. It's more of like a smoke weed and get introspective and think about life song.
Are there any songs that are like party hits on the whole album? Like
Jail is the only one I can think of that works at a party. Because most of, like, God Breathed, that's one that's like straight off of Yeezus if he'd had his religious awakening by that point, but he hadn't. That you could go run to right now. That would make you run your ass off. God Breathed, if you're looking for one to work out to. And again, Jail's one of my favorites. Remote Control is awesome. That's a party song, Jared. There's one. That'll be on at the bar. Remote Control will be on at the bar. It'll be on at the parties. Off the Grid is another one that'll probably make some spins at parties and bars. He put it all in here, man. He put it all. My favorite stretches are Jail, God Breathed, Off the Grid, Hurricane. That's a 4-song stretch of nonstop, just like amazing. And then also Remote Control, Moon, Heaven and Hell. That's another 3-song stretch. So my overall thoughts, very quickly. Kanye is Michael Jordan, and this is the 95-96 Bulls. Like, for example, Playboi Carti is clearly a talented individual on some level. Generation Z eats this dude up. But I, for the life of me, cannot find a single song of his that I can force into my regular rotation. But if you put him in the lab with Kanye, suddenly he's spitting verses that I can almost understand and enjoy. Ye makes everybody around him better. And while he barely even attempts to shine lyrically himself on this album, all the features brought their A game, dude. And that makes, it's like an almost DJ Khaled-esque super album if DJ Khaled was actually creating and had like an overarching, deep, meaningful theme to his work and providing lyrics and vocals instead of just yelling, "We the best" over and over.
Does sound tight, though.
It is tight.
We the best!
It's just not this level.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, he's deep in his career, man. We love to hate on success in this country. Hating on LeBron is like a national pastime at this point, and he's inarguably one of the greatest athletes to ever walk the face of the earth, and we're blessed to watch him play the game of basketball. That's where we're at with Ye. Is he a douchebag? Yes. Is LeBron a douchebag? Yes. Am I a douchebag? Probably. But it's about what you put out. And to sit here and make it about, like, you don't like his shoes or his clothes or the dumb shit he says in the news, like, well, this is the thing he's supposed to be doing. Music. So judge him off of that work. And if you listen to this through and through and you don't like it, I just don't really know what you're looking for in music. If you can't find anything in it, and I totally understand if you're like, well, these first few songs are a little heavy and dark, I don't know about these, or like some of the ones about divorce, I totally get that. But if you tell me you can't find anything on this album that's for you, man, I have a hard time believing that shit. I think you might just be a hater, or you might be a dude named Shitto who's going to join us on Wednesday's show, actually. He's going to come on Wednesday's episode to be the Donda dissenter.
Ooh.
Shitto, you may remember him. He's been on our show before.
Talked about Bitcoin.
At Call Me Shitto on Twitter. He talked about Bitcoin with us.
And I got trolled harder than I've ever been trolled on a podcast.
Me and him were texting this weekend, and I was like, we have to find a way to set this up so Jared doesn't know what's happening again. But I don't think it's possible. Anyway, so looking forward to that discussion on Wednesday. Also, apparently Drake's Certified Lover Boy is dropping soon. Excited to see what he brings to the table because him and Kanye's beef is now fully inflamed. Look, it took till the end of the summer, but god damn, the explosion of music this past few months has been phenomenal. We finally got the Kanye album, and I just feel like that's a big piece of my world, getting back to normal, was like getting new music, getting great artists, getting people back on tour, getting to see shows like I did this weekend. Dangerous as it may have been at the time right now, I'm not saying I recommend everybody go do that. It was a calculated risk that we sat there and talked about for a while because it's like shitty. I don't want to get sick. I don't want to get anybody I know sick either. And right now the fucking Delta variant or whatever it's called is everywhere. So it was like to the point that I had tickets on Saturday to go to Rod Wave at Stubbs. But first of all, I was wiped. I was like, get the fuck out of here. We're going to go do Rod Wave at Stubbs and sweat our tits off for 2 hours. But also I was just like, bro, I don't know. You want to roll the dice twice in one weekend? Because that's what it is right now. Kind of feels like a dice roll. So not saying I recommend that for everybody, but it was amazing for me. Kanye album coming out was also huge. I'm in like a rough mental health stretch right now. So to get new music from somebody that I love, it helps. It means a lot. To see somebody else that I love, Shane, get to perform at a venue that meant a lot to him, helped a lot too. And to feel all that energy from all those people, it helped. And speaking of that, if you've been struggling with your mental health, or if at any point you do struggle with your mental health, I do 2 episodes of this show a month that are only available on patreon.com/Ross Bolen podcast that are mental health minisodes. All right. I dropped one today, actually. I spent 15 minutes talking about depression and how it manifests itself in each day when you struggle with it and how I fight it and sort of needing to retrain your brain when you go through mental health struggles based on what those struggles are. So if you go to patreon.com/Ross Bolen podcast today, you can support the show, pick a tier. There's a few to pick from. But the RBP gang will get you access to our ad-free Friday episodes every single Friday, where Jared and I have a blast. They're almost always my favorite episode of the week now. I guess I can safely say it's been like a month straight where the Friday episodes end up being my personal favorites because they're goofy as hell. We play a lot of hotline calls from our listenership. For those of you who are like, where are the hotline calls? I want to hear hotline calls. Where can they hear him, Jared?
They can hear him on patreon.com/Ross Bolen podcast. I think there might be something. It's obviously a more intimate audience.
It is. There's a smaller audience. It's only 1,100 plus people in there right now. Jared and I are desperately trying to get it up to 2,000. So if you can help us with that, we would appreciate it very much.
If we get to 2,000, I will shotgun a 2-liter of Mountain Dew Flamin' Hot Cheetos.
Why would you make it something? Then I'm going to have to watch you shoot fire out of your 2-hole for the rest of the week.
And my 1-hole.
All of the holes, maybe.
Is your 1-hole your mouth or your front hole?
Different for each person. Your front hole. Love that. Your downstairs mix up. Yeah, so ad-free every Friday we drop an exclusive, brand new, ridiculous off-the-rails episode that's often driven by hotline calls from our listenership at the hotline number 888-WR-BOLEN, which I may on occasion randomly play one here or there on the main show, right? On the one you're listening to right now on Monday or Wednesday. Most of those calls, 99% of them are going to be played on patreon.com/Ross Bolen podcast moving forward. That's just the way we found is best to set it up and motivate the most of you to get to Patreon because that is the backbone of our entire company here at Bolen Media, where Jared and I are the only full-time employees right now. And we very much appreciate everybody who is on there supporting us because big time part of our operation that allows us to do what we do each and every month. So for those of you who join, get in that RBP gang tier. You'll get the ad-free Friday episodes. Every month, you'll also get a Bolen Media column, an update about Bolen Media and what went on that month and what we've got coming up and what's going on with us at Bolen Media HQ in Austin, Texas, where Jared and I work each and every day of the week, the work week.
If you're interested, a little behind-the-scenes peek, like, hey.
Yeah, what's going on? How are the guys doing? What are they working on?
What's it like to work at a 2-person company in a house where the boss spanks his one employee's tight little ass on a daily basis?
Yeah, startup media company in Austin, Texas. Very much appreciate y'all's support. Really means a lot. If you want to support the show, go to patreon.com/Ross Bolen podcast now. You'll get 6 columns a month total if you're in the Enforcer tier or the OG tier on Patreon that vary from funny to absurd to serious. And again, one of them's the Bolen Media update. So yeah, go today. Last Friday's episode, hysterical. Friday before that, hysterical. Friday before that, hysterical. Friday before that, hysterical. And guess what, Jared? Guess what?
What?
If they sign up right now, as soon as this episode ends in a couple minutes, they can go listen to all 4 of those hysterical episodes that I just said out loud immediately upon subscribing.
And the 90 before those.
Booyah.
Boom.
Someone on Instagram just asked for a segment on laundry room etiquette. Said, people be disrespecting their fellow tenants? What? I don't know how you fix that. Last time I was in a laundry room was at my apartment complex on Lake Austin Boulevard. And man, actually it was before that. It was my apartment complex before Lake Austin Boulevard. It was on Stastny and South Congress. Don't know why I'm giving street names. Doesn't matter. And it fucking sucks. That's a terrible experience, man. Had it in college at the dorms, too.
Here's the worst thing. I think everybody can agree about a laundry room situation, right?
You don't have one right now, do you?
No.
I was going to say, Jared, bring your laundry over here. Spare yourself this hell.
Last time I had it was senior year of college.
We do provide, by the way, a full washer and dryer for every single one of our employees here at Bolen Media.
And a full kitchen, a full gymnasium, bedroom, shower,
full backyard.
Backyard.
Everybody gets one. So far.
Yeah. Really sucks for the next employee.
Next person's going to be slightly less benefits.
The worst thing is when you go and then all of the dryers are open, but all the washers are full. And you're like, okay, which one of these dickheads is going to come move their shit from the washer to the dryers so I can use? And then you put it in there for them. Then you got their underwear in your hands. You're like, ugh.
Oh, man. The washatorium is the worst place on earth. I mean, it's just like, especially now, speaking of places that'll never be the same, that was horrible before, but now it just sucks. And I get it. Not all of us can afford a washer and dryer. You got to go to the washatorium. You got to get your fucking clothes cleaned somehow. But that place stinks. Literally, it stinks of soap and suds and everybody's sweat, and it's disgusting, and there's no fucking central air and heating in there because why the hell would they shell out for that? They just stack the machines up against the walls and let us come in and shell out the coins. But it's chaos in there. Half the machines are broken. Who the hell do you call? The number on the machine? There's nobody there for maintenance.
I haven't had a quarter in like 15 years.
I've had a load break halfway through and then I not be able to get the machine open. And if you're asking, why the hell, Ross? Why were you using this? Actually, the last time I can remember was when my washer dryer was broken in Austin.
So tell me more about your loads.
They're huge. soppy, soapy loads. But I'm real specific with my laundry, man. Like, I wash whites and colors together. I'm not a psychopath.
Yeah,
it's 2021.
I don't
Who separates you? What are you doing? But if it's a brand new item, it's specific items, you got to be careful. And there's some items, like a lot of my Zane robe that I have, a lot of the pants and shirts I have from there. It's one of my favorite brands. I wash them shits on gentle by themselves, black shirts together, lighter stuff together, separated for the nice stuff only, and I hang dry it because I'm insane. That's just how it is. I got to keep my nice shit nice.
My big thing is this. The biggest invention for laundry of all time is the Shout color catcher sheets. You ever use these?
Oh, yeah.
This is what made me not care about washing whites and darks.
This is those things that keep it from bleeding into the other stuff.
If you're going to wash like a red shirt with a white shirt, you throw both in, get a Shout color catcher, throw that sucker in there.
Not an ad read, by the way.
Oh,
not
no.
a sponsor, just a suggestion.
It's like a Procter & Gamble company. I don't think they're going to sponsor us.
Why not, man?
I don't know.
Shell it out, Procter & Gamble. Jared, you had a disc golf tournament-related topic.
I do. I wanted to congratulate Connor O'Reilly on winning the Delaware Disc Golf Challenge.
Hit the please clap button. Back to you, Jared. That's not... God
damn it.
Good try, though.
Please clap.
There it is. Yes. Huge. What's his name?
Okay, Connor O'Reilly.
Connor. Big shouts to Connor O'Reilly.
This dude he's been known for a while as the best Austin disc golfer, not including Nate Perkins, who's not really an Austin guy.
He's a local disc golfer.
Yes.
Austin.
So my home course is Zilker here in Austin.
Your home course, huh?
I would see this guy, Connor, out there pretty much on a weekly basis, right? He was so much better than me. And like we ran in tangential circles. He has no idea who I am.
Physically, you saw his body, his person?
Yeah, he would be on the course.
Oh, it's one of those things where everybody knew, like, oh, Connor's over there playing.
Yeah.
Like, he's a badass, too.
He has no idea who I am, but like tangentially, we run in very similar squads.
Right.
He's just the far superior group to me.
Sure.
As noted, he just won a Disc Golf Pro Tour tournament. Like right now, as of right now, he is the best disc golfer in the world, as of last week.
As of his ranking or whatever, yeah.
It's like a PGA, a golfer
situation, yeah.
wins the most recent tournament, like they are on top right then.
Right.
So it's crazy that this dude, who I would just see out...
depending on how you're looking at it, but
yeah. This dude who I would just see out on the course, he just won the biggest tournament, in disc golf last week.
How much do you think he pulled in for that?
Publicly, I can tell you.
Like, I'm going to guess, okay? I'm going to take a shot at it. I'm going to say it was $38,000 that he pulled for the first place win of the local...
It was a Disc Golf Pro Tour event.
Pro Tour event.
Well, Ross, you're about to be disappointed. So disc golf, incredibly, like, if you're a professional disc golfer, you can make a living doing it, right?
Okay.
They live in vans and they travel and they drive around.
So not $38,000.
He won $4,450 for a disc golf. I guess was it the Pro Tour or the National Tour?
Well, I think you'd put it this way, Jared. You win 10 tournaments a year, suddenly you're up above 40 grand.
So it was a National Tour event. I guess not a disc golf Pro Tour event. Whatever.
Well, congratulations. Back to you, Jared.
Fuck, I wanted to be congratulations to Japan. Here was the funny story about it, though. The funny story.
Okay.
Conor O'Reilly's first ever professional win was at the 2019 Lone Star Classic disc golf tournament. Do you know who else competed in that tournament?
You?
Me.
Damn.
So Conor O'Reilly's first ever professional win was at the tournament that was my first ever disc golf tournament. Ross,
what a quinky dink.
Well, Ross, we bookended the tournament.
What does that mean?
Conor finished first of all males, and I finished last.
Damn. Damn. Well, Jared, you know what that means, though? That if you work hard and you focus, that one day you could win first place and get $4,400.
Well, he's like 6'4". He's like huge.
Is that a thing? Is there a disc golf build that you want?
Yeah.
You want to be a giant so you can fucking hurl that thing?
It's about torque. And you want to be tall and lanky. You don't really need to be jacked. You just need to have long arms. Yeah, you have a good disc golf build.
Great for disc golf build and for rowing.
Too bad your shoulder's
coitus.
fucked.
That's true. Fuck. Yeah, I need to go to a doctor.
Yeah.
This is the only time I will admit that I need to go to a doctor. If something is bad enough to where I can't go do a bit. So, I need to get a shot. Yeah, anyway, congratulations to that guy. Way to go, dude. Happy belated to Tyler Emanuel. Happy belated birthday. Also, Jared and I will be back Wednesday, again, with a special guest who has a very different view on Kanye and Donda than I. One Shitto. You can check out his Twitter at CallMeShitto. Go listen to the other episode featuring Shitto where we discuss cryptocurrency. Jared and I and him.
Yeah.
And he.
How to become a Bitcoin billionaire, I believe, is the name of the episode. Great advice. If you had bought Bitcoin back when we released that episode, you'd have more money now.
Than God. No, you wouldn't. Great financial minds, though, all three of us. Even though it is not actually, in fact, financial advice. Just advice. Regular advice.
It's advice surrounding a financial topic.
Yeah.
It's not financial
Exactly,
advice.
Jared, exactly. So we'll be back Wednesday. Until then, hit patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast. Support the show. Get more right now. And then get out there and enjoy your life. Everybody gets one. Deuce chunk. Congratulations to Japan. There it is.
I got it.